Okay, it's story time with TMV Garage. And we're going to talk about cheap Chinese parts. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about Movember. Now that it's halfway through November, you might notice this growing fuzz on my upper lip. That is because every Movember for the last 10 or so years, I've grown a mustache for November for Men's Health Awareness Month, and believe it or not, it's actually a charity foundation website that you can go on and sign up and try to raise money for men's health. For every November for the past decade or so, I have actually tried to raise money for men's health through Movember.com. I'll leave a link in the thing, but after a decade, I've only ever raised $10 once. So I don't ask that you subscribe or like or follow or whatever that stuff is, but please go donate for men's health. All right, so enough charity work. Let's talk about cheap Chinese parts. In particular, my lights for the second gen Dodge Ram. There is a lot of stuff out there, and it's hard to figure out what you're looking at. And I don't particularly like to buy cheap Chinese stuff, but I do it anyways. We all do it. But I wanted to talk about the difference and what I've discovered, that there is a difference in quality of this type of stuff out there. So a lot of this stuff you'll get no name on. It's just a random piece of plastic that's been reverse engineered in a factory in China and pumped out with the cheapest materials possible for the highest amount of profit for them. And whatever, more power to them. We all still buy this stuff because it is very affordable. So I have discovered that there's actually good stuff out there in this market, I guess you'd call it. And that's with these headlights. So I kind of, when I'm, mechanical parts, I'll usually get from parts store. It's usually cheaper online. But these days, I typically use Rock Auto for mechanical parts. For aesthetic type stuff, I usually check Amazon or eBay. You pretty much get the same stuff. In fact, the store that sold these headlights has an Amazon store and an eBay store. And then these were off of Amazon, but I got these ones off of eBay. And these are actually name brand Chinese. And holy cow, is there a difference in quality. This is an actual automotive part. It is, and I'll talk about what I discovered about it, besides it just having a name on it. But this is just an extruded piece of plastic with some LEDs stuck into it through a hole where there's a light bulb supposed to go. But I do like the style of these, and the LED element looks pretty good. But I'm not so sure about this plastic. Not sure what it is. And having gotten into 3D printing a little bit over the years, I've learned a little bit about different types of plastic and their uses for the different types of plastic. Not sure what this is, but it is pretty thin and looks pretty flimsy. Just doesn't have necessarily a good finish on it. Whatever, it was, so I'll talk about the price that I found for this stuff and why I went with what, but I want to talk about these headlights now. So this would be an example of a lot better quality plastic. And a lot of parts nowadays are plastic on any type of car. You're going to run into plastic parts. Obviously the old 70s and older vehicles, there was a lot more metal parts, and that's why a lot of them are still mostly around. However, as far as plastics go, this actually has, where is it? Some ingredients on it. And that's what impressed me, because I actually understood what some of those ingredients are. I don't know if you can see that at all, but I'll read it to you. You probably don't even, I wasn't even pointing in the right place. It's right below where you plug in the signal light on the side. But anyway, I'll read it to you. Lens, PC, polycarbonate. And this seems to be a pretty good quality polycarbonate at that. Whereas this, I assume is polycarbonate, but your fingerprints will scratch this stuff. It is super sensitive to scratches, which polycarbonate versus acrylic is typically more scratchable, but polycarbonate by far is way more impact resistant. But this stuff doesn't even seem to scratch that easily. So makes sense for a lens that's out on the front of a vehicle, you know, exposed to, you know, not only rocks and stuff, but even big bugs and, you know, bird strike. Whereas I would feel more confident about something like this than something like this. Just, I know you'd really have to be here to notice the quality difference. This is a lot thicker, a lot more dense sounding, and it feels more refined. But the back part is a type of plastic I've never even heard of, or at least a composite I've never heard of. It is polypropylene plastic, which is has a pretty good tensile strength and will also yield before breaking pretty well. So it's tough stuff. But this is PP, so polypropylene plus TD20. And that means it's polypropylene with talc mixed into it at 20%, TD20. I think it's talc density 20%. So it's a composite that is actually used for manufacturing of car parts and various other things like packaging and support parts. But this is a legit auto part. And then the third ingredient is for the reflectors. So these pieces inside of here, there's actually, I don't know if you will be able to tell, looking through the top here, this kind of window on the top here, there's a piece here and a piece here. That's these inserts where the light bulbs go. That is PA6 plus TD20. So it's composite with the talc at 20%, just like this back stuff, but PA is nylon. So it's nylon 6. I'm not sure exactly what that version of nylon is, but it's tough stuff. And it's very heat resistant, which makes sense to make reflectors that have halogen light bulbs that go in them. They get very hot, or any type of light bulb that can generate heat. Makes sense. So this is a legit, well thought out, designed auto part, and it is made by Windjet. So I bought these headlights through what I found to be a very prominent seller of auto parts, of Chinese auto parts, on eBay and Amazon, called AutoSaver88. So I found when I was looking up, trying to wade through the sea of Chinese headlights, found many reviews and videos and stuff done about AutoSaver88 store headlights. I don't know if they have other stuff besides Chinese parts, but they had this, and so I ordered it. It had no branding advertised for these. I just assumed they were just no name, or AutoSaver88 was the name. But once I received these, noticed the quality. These are, where does it say? These are DOT and SEA regulated. They have part number on the lens and on the back. I didn't even notice the branding on it, but I looked up that part number and went back to a company called Windjet, WINJET, Windjet. And I looked them up, and they're a legit Chinese auto part company. Make their own designs, and produce their own parts. But yeah, this is Windjet, made in China. This is part number WJ100292. And there's more to it, to that part number, but if you type into Google WJ100292, you'll come up with this headlight. And there's a version, this has the LED daytime running lights, but there's a version without those lights, but that strip is still kind of there, but it's not chrome, which were actually a little bit more expensive than the kind with LEDs. So I decided to go with daytime running lights. So these are what I'm going to use, what I'm going to go with. I'm not going to do a video like installing or showing how to install or hook up the daytime running lights. I don't even know how I'm going to do it yet. But there's a ton of videos on that stuff anyway, so we'll definitely be able to find them. But I wanted to talk about navigating the sea of Chinese auto parts on the internet. Now I've learned a lot from luckily buying or choosing these headlights and having the taillights to compare it to, that there is something to look for out there when you're looking at all of these listings that look so much like the other one. You know, they all look alike, and it's just rows and rows of cheap parts that you understand are cheap parts, and they're cheap for a reason, but there actually is stuff in that market that is fairly quality. Now, this is just first impression out of the box. You know, I haven't obviously installed them yet or tested them out or used them for a while. Don't know how they're gonna wear in. So I kind of reserve judgment on that, but I was impressed to see an ingredient list on the back of this that it is made with quality materials. It seems to be very well put together. It's not like a generic mold that was intended for one purpose and modified for another purpose and thrown on the internet for schmucks like me to buy. But cost, God, I have to look it up, but I think it was about $75 for these headlights and about $75 for the taillights. It was roughly around there. I don't think it was much more than that. So I did find these on Amazon for typically $10 to $20 more expensive than on eBay, and those were cheaper on Amazon than they were on eBay. So you got to kind of look around, but look for any type of branding. Like I said, these weren't advertised as branded at all. I don't know if that would have changed how much I was willing to pay for them, or the fact that I would have still ended up with these or not. I don't know. But I'm going to go install these now, if it's not too dark out. Time change and all. All right. I've been working on something of a lot bigger project. Maybe I'll give you a little sneak peek of that. But it's still ongoing. It's a big learning experience for me. But I'm working on the interior, and something that I've thought about for a long time with this truck, with the interior, and whether I should even do it because it is a truck. But I did think that this truck deserved a nice interior, and that I deserved a nice interior. So that's, I think, what I'm doing. But it is a very long, arduous process, and that video is being worked on, and that project's being worked on as we speak, and it won't be done anytime soon, but at least you get this one in the meantime. Let's go take a peek. See that big beautiful Dodge Ram. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to see this because all the reflection off the windshield, and the lighting's different out here. You can't even see it. Oh, there's too much reflection. Oh, that's too much. You can kind of see it through the window there. That's as much as you get. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go put some headlights in. Wish me luck.